Well, welcome back. I'm Ariel Onstadt, and it's so good to have you guys with us. We want to talk all things Georgia real estate, how to buy and sell in this market. So for that, we want to bring in Angela R. Ohl, a Home Smart agent. Angela, so good to have you with us. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for the invite. I'm loving it.
So I wanted to ask you a few questions about how to effectively buy and sell in the current Georgia real estate market, especially as we look at things right now. What are some of the factors affecting how the market looks as it does right now?
So there's a couple of things. Of course, supply and demand is always going to be top and center. The more homes that we have available versus buyers and vice versa. But also interest rates. I know that's the hot button topic is interest rates. We're not in pandemic rates anymore. Probably won't see those for a few years or another decade, but rates are still really good. They're better than the average if you look at it over the last 10 to 15 years. Rates are still really good. Even though they're fluctuating a little bit, it is not affecting buying as much as some people would like to say that it is. So there are still buyers out there and good properties are going fast.
Would you say it's a little bit more of a buyer's market than a seller's market, or do the interest rates effectively just pour cold water on all of that?
Well, no, not necessarily a buyer's market as of yet. We are still short on inventory in comparison. So we're having about 4 months worth of inventory right now. Back in the pandemic, it was less than a month or right around a month. So the time of inventory is going up a little bit, but not enough to say that we're effectively in a full buyer's market as of right now. With new construction, the way that it is, resales increasing in the market, we still have a lot of inventory, but there are still more buyers that are qualified to purchase than there are homes.
Very interesting. What kind of homes do you see being in demand here in our area? Is there something specific people are really needing?
So, surprisingly enough, townhomes have really taken off. Of course, Georgia or the metro Atlanta area, outside the perimeter and things like that weren't really big on townhomes at one point. It was more about the suburban living, things like that. So now there's been a shift where townhomes are being built more often, and they're more in demand. So that kind of home is definitely on the rise, but still, your regular homes, the traditional 2 stories and ranch homes are always going to be in demand. So you're seeing resales having a little bit more attention than new construction, but don't sleep on new construction because they are offering a lot of incentives and things like that and great interest rates.
So interesting when you think about if I have what someone wants, maybe I could get a good price for it, right? And when we think about selling, how do we effectively price our real estate? How do we figure out what's a good thing for the market?
So you're going to want to look at a few things. What has recently sold in your area? Have you done a lot of upgrades to your home? Is it in a really sought after area? Is there a lot of new construction being built? Because that will affect your numbers as well. So you want to make sure that whoever you are working with when it comes to your professional, your realtor, your real estate agent, that they are delving into your specific market. I mean, the numbers can be different in another neighborhood down the block. So you want to look at those things such as comps, your specifics about your particular property, and the condition. Those are always going to be the things that make sure you price your home right.
And when we're looking at this, I would imagine that staging and the little things we can do also play a big role in selling our homes. But staging is an art form in of itself. How do you effectively stage your home?
So I always tell my clients, make it look like you're visiting an Airbnb. So if you're walking into your home, come out, go outside, come back in with fresh eyes and look at the things that, if you were buying the home, what would you pay attention to? But yes, staging is essential. You want to declutter, you want to depersonalize. It is sometimes hard for a buyer to walk into a property and see a bunch of personal photos, personal effects, because they feel as though they're walking into someone's home instead of walking into what could be their home. So minimize what you have, declutter, depersonalize, get a fresh cleaning, paint those areas that have some scuff marks and things like that. replace the flooring if need be, or have a good cleaning. So you're essentially wanting to give your home the best makeover possible. You don't have to break the bank to do that. Things such as just putting some stuff in the closet, putting some stuff in the garage or in a storage unit can really help.
It makes sense that the details would probably really help us in selling more than we might imagine. How do we prepare for a negotiation? If we're on the seller side and we're saying, hey, maybe I really want top dollar, but I'm not sure how to navigate this process. What have you seen to be effective?
So your realtor is going to come top of hand, top of mind for that. So when it comes to negotiations, everyone wants to feel as though they got the best end of the stick. I mean, that's just nature. So you want to make sure that you have your minimal numbers as a seller, your minimum number in mind. Of course, we don't want greed to play into that, but you want to discuss with your agent what is the market looking like and what would be your minimum number after commissions, after closing costs, suggestions, after payoff. And that is your number to hold to the side. Anything like that, anything above that is gravy. That's what I call it. It's gravy. But you also want to make sure that you are being fair in negotiations when it comes to things such as repairs, things like that. If it were you on the other side, you want to make sure that you're doing things the fair way so that no one feels as though they were taken advantage of, but you want to make sure, you have a fair price and they get a fair deal.
Makes sense. Everyone wants to come away feeling like they've won.
Exactly.
Angela, I'm curious if you are on the buyer's side, right? And even this kind of goes both ways, buyers or sellers. How do you find a good agent? And are there red flags that people should be aware of?
So we joke in the industry, not all agents are created equally. That's a running joke. However, whether you're a realtor or a real estate agent, I know sometimes that is a deciding factor. The fact of the matter is, the person that you work with, you want to make sure that they are very knowledgeable about the area in which you are purchasing or selling. That they are not someone on the north side, someone on the south side, or vice versa. You want someone knowledgeable about your area, about your specific market. You also want someone that listens to you. They don't come into the room trying to tell you or speak over you what your plans are, but they listen to what you have to say, what your goals are, what your walkaway is, and they take that into consideration and they share knowledge with you. It is not about just spouting facts. It's about sharing knowledge, making sure that you understand the pros and cons of both the buyer and the sell side. So when you have an agent that does that, that listens to you, that knows your market, knows their area, and works proficiently with other agents, and make sure that your best foot is put forward, you have a great agent.
I love it. Definitely, you want to feel like a team and like this person is on your side no matter what. Angela, a final question I had about the selling side. If your house, condo, townhome, whatever you have, if it's been on the market for a while and you're just not seeing any kind of movement, what tips would you offer as an agent to try to get things moving?
So you definitely want to take a look at your listing. A lot of times the price is probably going to be too high. If it's sitting for a long period of time and it hasn't moved, it probably means that the pricing isn't right. So you definitely want to see if there's been a shift or a change in the market when it comes to pricing since you put your home on the market. And if so, then go ahead and start working on an adjustment with your realtor. If you have pictures that aren't as flattering, make sure you go ahead and get a professional photographer to come out there and take some really good photos of your home. You want everyone to see what your home has to offer. Things like staging also help with that. Having an open house may be helpful. Inviting, having a broker open where other agents come in that may service that area. They may have clients that are looking in the area but just don't know what your home has to offer. Your realtor can host a broker open or an open house and have some people come in, but you want to shake some things up. Like I said, price reduction, making sure photos and videos look great, social media marketing. You want to get the attention to your home as much as possible. Worst case scenario, maybe take it off the market for a little bit, let things cool down, put it back on the market with a fresh face. So there's some tactics that can be used, but you want to make sure that your realtor does a great job with advising you on that.
Yeah, have a good strategy and maybe get creative, work through some of your options to figure out what's best. If you're a
Absolutely.
buyer, how do you decide how far off from the sale price is a good offer in Georgia's market?
So you have to think about things such as how long has it been on the market? You don't want to go in and offend a seller if the home has only been on the market 48 hours. You don't want to go in asking for $10,000 off asking price. So you want to see things like what kind of conditions the home is in, how long it's been on the market. Are there any repairs that need to be done that you can see just from the showing? Are they offering closing costs? Are they paying your buyer's agent's commission? So there are some things to factor in when you're coming in with a price for an offer, but you want to make sure that you are taking those things into consideration. And you also, if you're in need of things like closing costs, maybe not ask for a lower price, but ask for closing costs because that saves you money in the front. A difference in price of $10,000 on price may not be that much of a difference when it comes to your monthly payment, but asking for a few $1,000s of closing costs would save you that money up front.
Yeah, down the line, it really pays off and makes a big difference. Angela, I could talk about this with you forever, but I do want to ask you before we go, are there any factors that make Georgia's real estate market unique, and how can we navigate that? Any final things I haven't asked that you want to add?
Sure, sure. So, as a broker with HomeSmart, one of the things that we see very, very often is we are having an influx of people coming to our great state. So it's a great thing, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're highlighting what Georgia has to offer. You want to make sure that you are, as an agent, that you are taking advantage of the fact that you are sought after. And as a buyer, this is a great time. Interest rates are not scary. They're back to the norm or a little bit below norm. So the best time to buy is always yesterday. So don't let, fear or what things may look like affect your decision. If you can afford it, go ahead and do it because it is building generational wealth. As a seller, you probably have a lot of equity built up right now. And if you have some changes that you want to do, now may be a great time. Get you a great realtor, look around and see what's going on in your particular area, and go ahead and take that jump. You may end up coming out on top.
Yeah, I love it. Angela, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your insight with us and giving us those tips and ways to navigate. I feel like it's always daunting at first, but once we get into it, we realize we can make sense of it. So thank you for
It's
helping
not
us
as
do that.
scary as you think it is. It's not as scary. It's a great thing.
Amen. Angela, thanks for joining us. Thank you guys for streaming along.